With our partner Chorus, it's the AM show.
Okay, what an exciting start to the America's Cup with the series tied 1 apiece so far. You know, a week ago you would have said America's Cup, oh, yeah, I'm not that interested, but now you are. Emirates Team New Zealand and Luna Rossa will be back on the water tomorrow after spending their last rest day today preparing for what's shaping up to be quite the battle. I think rest day is a bit of it's a misnomer, I would have thought. They're not resting, they are working. To break it all down for us now from Auckland's Viaduct is America's Cup veteran Ken Reid. G'day Ken, nice to see you. Welcome back to the program.
It's nice to be here. Thank you.
What did you make of yesterday? Did you predict that?
Listen, if I were an Italian fan, I guess I'd be thrilled. You know, my team's in the hunt. All these rumors of crazy speed differences and all those things, well, they are rumors. They were rumors, no question about it. They're very competitive, obviously. If I were a Kiwi, you know what? I think I was expecting this. I don't think the Kiwis bought into the hype as well. The 60 knots, the 4-knot speed difference, all that stuff. I think they were expecting a fight. I don't think they're really surprised at all.
Do you think we'll see a boat go second across the start line, but first across the finish line? Do you think someone can start second and finish first?
Well, you just mentioned it a minute ago. If we can move back to this North Head course, this course C, as we call it, right outside the harbor where, you know, it was really where the America's Cup was. This was the dream, the setup, the stadium course. That's really shifty in there, and we could see passes in there. But I think these more open water race courses, it's really hard, boy. These boats are so fast. They can control this narrow race course so efficiently. It's really hard to pass. And I think we talked about it yesterday. I think it's been 13 of the last 14 races have not had a pass. So you better win the start. Hey, Peter Burley, you better win the start.
Oh, he was so aggressive in that first race was the start yesterday, Ken. It was fantastic. But commentators were saying anything over 12 knots, Team New Zealand will be very hard to beat. Why is that, and what are conditions looking like this weekend?
Well, that's a great question, and the weather is absolutely the third party here. And by the way, yesterday was over 12 knots for a fair chunk of the day, so I think that's why a lot of the sailing pundits were actually quite, I don't know, they were a little nervous that they may have been dead wrong. The Italians look pretty good in 12, 13 knots of breeze. I think everybody would say that. Hey, I think at the end of the day, this is going to be a sailboat race. All sailors want is a sailboat race. They want to have their abilities actually affect the outcome. The America's Cup very often is just about put your foot on the pedal and let the boat do the work. Well, now all of a sudden we're seeing the people having to do a little bit of the work, and I think that's a good thing for the sport.
So, day off, what do you think each team will be actually working on? Because I agree with Duncan, they're not having a day off.
There's no such thing as a day off. There's no question. They'll try to let their bodies heal a little bit. They got a serious schedule coming up. Now, one other part to that last question is the weather going forward this weekend. Tomorrow looks very light. So, by the way, if you were a betting person, you would be betting that the next couple of days really kind of favor the Italians. Any vulnerability in the, you know, any chink in the Kiwi armor, it might be in that really light air, and we're about to see some light air. So they're going to be prepping their boats and their programs and mentally prepping themselves for light air over the weekend. I think we're going to see some just above that lower limit wind ranges, and that's going to throw a whole nother wrench into the situation.
I reckon the loss for New Zealand is good, Ken. I reckon it's good because it sits them on their backsides a bit and says you're in an arm wrestle, you're in a fight. If you thought you were better than them, well, you're about even, so get with it, boys.
Well, it's great for sport. It's great for us. It's great for you and me. It's something to talk about. It's not a whitewash. That's all we wanted. We didn't want this thing to be a blowout. It was interesting to me when the Italians won the second race yesterday, kind of the cheering and even some high-fiving on board. You never see that out of the Kiwis. So you could kind of see the relief in the Italians when they actually finished that race. Like, wow, we're in a boat race. This is good. I think now they have to regroup, get back to that level playing, that even keel, and get ready to go out and do battle again.
What's wrong with us Kiwis? Ken, why do we celebrate victories? Why don't we jump up and down and do high fives?
It's a great question. Okay, it's a great question, and it's when you figure it out, you just please let me know. I sailed around the world a couple times with a bunch of Kiwis, and we tried desperately to get them to high five, and they wouldn't do it. So I don't know. That's your problem. That's your guys' problem. That's not my problem.
You were just going back to the light conditions that are expected over at least the next 3 days. How much tweaking can Team New Zealand in particular do to their boat to change the characteristics in 1 day?
It's all sails at this stage, so they'll be pulling out a whole different batch of sails in the lighter air. Not only size, but sail shapes that'll really power up the boats. It's all about, at that bottom end, as we've seen in several of the rounds, it's all about getting the boat out of the water and up on the foils. And of course, then the Kiwis played with this Code Zero, this big Code Zero the other day, expecting maybe some really light air races where the time limit came into play, and they had to sail in what we call displacement mode. So there's all kinds of little tricks out there, but I think most of it will be done with sails at this stage, whether it's in the breezier conditions or the lighter conditions.
Ken, we are still in alert level 2 up in Auckland, but what impact did that have on racing yesterday? Did you still get the support that was sort of required to give it that sort of America's Cup atmosphere?
So that's a great question. When we walked down yesterday morning, the viaduct was just starting to buzz a little bit, and it felt different. But I have to admit, it didn't feel America's Cup-ish again. I think if we can get this back to level 1 at some stage, hopefully, I haven't read the news this morning. But if we can get it back to level 1, this thing is a buzz, is crazy. You saw a lot of boats out there yesterday, but still that stadium course, that course that Grant Dalton kind of dreamt of, that right smack in the middle of the harbor out there, that's really what this regatta is all about. That's the hope and that's the dream of all the people putting it on as well. So I think without level 1, it's still going to seem maybe not quite America's Cup-ish, if there's such a word. If it does drop down that level, I think this place goes crazy.
Yeah, no, I think we do it. I'm going to give you a high five through the camera, okay, and the microphone. So my hand's up in the air, you put your hands up in the air, and we're going to go, Kim. Okay, mate?
By the way, I can find bananas anytime I go to the store, so I don't know what your guys' problem is.
You bought them all. Well, if I flick your Mark's address, you can flick some his way.
Yeah.
Good stuff. America's Cup veteran Ken Reid playing ball with us. Good man. Appreciate it. It is 18 past 7.
So that